I'm Kelly Carter, and this is Another Act. In 2012, Jessica Williams debuted on The Daily Show as the youngest correspondent to ever work on the series. Since then, Williams has been making us laugh from TV shows, podcasts, and movies. After a 4-year run on The Daily Show, Williams started to shift her career towards acting. In 2017, she starred in Netflix's The Incredible Jessica James, where she also served as an executive producer. Williams grew up a huge Harry Potter fan, even though there weren't a lot of people that looked like her in the wizarding world. Now Williams' career is coming full circle as she's currently playing in Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Today, she talks about her influences in her life, how her career has grown, and what it means to her being in the world of wizardry.
Professor Hicks.
Dumbledore.
Assuming you're not otherwise engaged,
And frankly, even if you are, I encourage you to attend tonight's candidates' dinner. Take Mr. Kowalski.
I'm quite certain there'll be an assassination attempt. Anything you can do to scotch that would be greatly appreciated.
It's my pleasure. I shall welcome the challenge.
Please welcome Jessica Williams to the show. Man, you know, in 2014, I interviewed you for Ebony magazine. We were identifying funny black women, and you were one of the 10. And at the time, you were on The Daily Show, and you were killing it, of course, and people were clearly taking notice. But let's go back to 2014. What were your expectations for your career, and what were your hopes as you were navigating moving forward?
Oh my goodness, I think I was like 22 at that time, and now I'm 32. So I got a little wisdom. I got a little wisdom on my bill. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, my expectation at that point, you're just throwing spaghetti on the walls and seeing what sticks. Like, I think you're just kind of taking all of the information in. I was born and raised in LA. I was going to Cal State Long Beach at the time. I got The Daily Show. I picked up everything and moved to New York. And it all happened within the span of like 3 weeks. So it was definitely not anything that I had planned. It wasn't a trajectory that I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. I was really grateful and I took the job. I wasn't gonna pass up the opportunity, but I was just like, oh shoot, like what do I do now? And I think at that point, I'm dropped into this big Daily Show machine and I'm just doing whatever sticks. I'm still in my 20s. Now I live in New York and I get to live this different life. I got a weekly paycheck now, which I was just working at the mall, so I for damn sure don't know what to do with this little increase in money. I think I was just, I feel like I was just like this. Like, that's what I was doing. I didn't have any expectations, really. I really just wanted to do a good job. I was learning a lot. I'm still learning. But at that point, I was just in my 20s, my early 20s, taking everything in.
Yeah, you know, when you and I first talked, the focus was so much on comedy. And I think it was because we were trying to talk about funny black women because there was this conversation asking where they were, led primarily by Saturday Night Live and the lack of black women on that series. But the thing that we didn't talk about back then was what else you could do beyond that. Was the plan for you to enter a space of comedy, or was it that comedy was the thing that just immediately took off for you?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I grew up watching a lot of comedy with my grandmother. She had a really wicked sense of humor. I think there's like 2 grandmas. There's like a milk and cookies grandma that's gonna knit you a sweater. And then there's a drinks Colt 45, swearing, cursing, you know, wants to go to Reno and play the slot machine kind of grandma. And my grandma was a bad bee. She was the former. And she always liked to watch South Park. And I remember she took me to the movies to go see the South Park movie. She liked The Simpsons. She liked Conan, SNL, Mad TV. And then she was funny. And I would spend a lot of my time with her, and I thought that she was a cool person. She was kind of my model of a woman, and a strong woman at that. And I think I liked comedy. I did improv in high school and in college, but I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to do serious acting as well. I feel like a lot of comedic actors are so capable of doing drama, and I think they're just excellent at it because comedy is inherently so sad. It comes from a wealth of truth, but I've always been interested in playing strong black women, whether they are funny or not. But usually my characters have a comedic bent because with doing improv and sketch and The Daily Show and Two Dope Queens, there's a rhythm to it. And I feel like I have a certain way about me, and I try and bring that to every project if it calls for it. Because I think life is inherently funny and sad at the same time, all the time.
Funny and sad at the same time. Yeah, no, I understand that.
I've never heard that before, and I'm obsessed with that phrase, and now I will be taking it and putting it in my lexicon. Thank you very much.
Please, you're more than welcome. Have at it. Have at it. I asked you back then when you first knew you were funny, and you said daycare because you cracked a joke about the teacher that you loved.
I ripped my teacher's ass for no reason. She did not deserve it at all.
But when did you first know that you had layers, that you could do something that wasn't solely in the space of comedy, and that you could dive deeper and deliver something that had absolutely nothing to do with comedy? When did that discovery first happen for you?
I've always been really sensitive. When I was a kid, I was really introverted. I was really bookish. I read books all the time, and I was really interested in, I didn't know it at the time, but stories and people. And I'm always interested in how people work. I am a people person. I like to hear how people became, the way they are or what they think, because everybody has their own fingerprints. There's always something interesting about someone. So I've always been interested in humans. And I think because I was quite introverted as a kid, I experienced a wealth of emotions that, my palette, I see it as like a painting palette, like a painter's palette. And I don't think linearly, I think circularly, I think in circles a lot. And I have a lot of different circles going on at once. And I just think life is happy and sad at the same time. I'm never really feeling one emotion. It's always 3 different emotions at once when I really think about it. And so because I see my palette a certain way and it has all these different shades, my job as an actor and how I want to just be a better actor is to always try and highlight that nuance in the in-between. Rather than trying to just play a scene one way, I want to try and capture the funny and the sad at the same time. One of my favorite projects that I've ever done was Love Life Season 2 that came out last year. And what was great about it was a sweet spot for me because it was acting and there was sad moments and humorous moments and romance, but it was just everything all at once. And I love a dramedy for that reason.
So was it challenging for you, when you decided that you wanted to move on from spaces that we were familiar seeing you in, like Two Dope Queens, to do more of this? For this industry to see you as someone who could do more than just stand on a stage and be the make me laugh woman. What was that like for you initially as you started trying to go out for roles and to find opportunities for yourself?
I think it's interesting as a correspondent because, I'm always grateful for that job, and you are a personality a lot of the time, and I know that I find great joy in acting, and so yeah, it does take a while to kind of show people the way that you want to be seen. And I'm a 6-foot-tall Black lady, so not every part is gonna be, for me. In fact, most parts are not gonna be for me. So when I get an interesting opportunity that someone wants me to try something or they think I'm a good fit, it's like I would absolutely like to do that. But I also learned the power of my no's and how good a no is, whether it comes from casting or it comes from me, because then I can get an even stronger yes, and that means something, because that means either production or the director or casting is really stoked about me and they're gonna let me flow and thrive, or I'm so excited that I am just going to do everything I can to make sure that, I am portraying a character that has nuance and depth, and the project just comes out stronger because it's a collaboration. But I'm learning the power of yeses as opposed to focusing on the no's, because it's always worked out, I think. And now here I am, really lucky and blessed to be in my first big studio movie that was so expensive, wearing all of these really expensive clothes. I lived for 6 or 7 months during a pandemic in London, where Warner Brothers gave me a free Peloton so I wouldn't, go out to a gym and get exposed to COVID, which was tight. And I got to wear these beautiful outfits and do this really cool, powerful magic, which was my dream ever since I was a kid. And so I've been really blessed that one thing has just kept leading to another, and people's yeses have been really strong for me. And the best thing I discovered was that everything that I had done with The Daily Show and traveling and interviewing people and being interested in people and doing Two Dope Queens and learning what it's like to perform on stage and live every week, those things also set me up for success in my future roles. I think that those things still come out. There's a little bit of that in Beasts. I improvised quite a bit in this film and made it into this film, which is crazy because that normally doesn't happen. And all those bits and those things that I learned, they make me me. And I think that's kind of the point, is being able to come back to who Jessica is, because then my work is stronger.
Absolutely. So how did we get here? How did this project come to you? And how did you process all of it? Because I know that you were a big fan of Harry Potter and this series. So how did you come to this series, and what was it like, on the road to getting Fantastic Beats?
Yeah, I have been obsessed with these films since I was a kid, and the books. My teacher read us those books in the 3rd grade. I even had I have a Harry Potter tattoo here that I've had for a really long time, since even before this film. And when I was on The Daily Show, JK really liked The Daily Show, and she just liked my work, and she wrote me into the film, and they had to run it by David Heyman, David Yates. So then the next step was waiting for them to be excited about me. And they watched this movie that I did called The Incredible Jessica James, and Warner Brothers approved it, and David Yates, the director, David Heyman, they were all in. And that's when it really happened for me. And I knew I would have a bit part in the second film, and then in 3, 4, and 5, my character, Professor Yalali Hicks, takes a big turn in a big way for the next few films. And so that was years ago, and it was such a long process, and finally here we are. This character is about to be birthed into the world, and I remember crying and having chills a lot of the time, and wanting to puke, and then getting to set and looking at these amazing costumes and these immersive, 2 to 3 story tall sets with all this detail and so much magic and patina just on the set, because the crew is super talented, and just kind of being in awe. Because if you told me in 3rd grade that one day I would grow up to be this witch, just this good, talented, smart witch, I don't think I would have believed you. It was literally my wildest dream coming true. And that to me, it feels like something that I manifested in the 3rd grade as a introverted, bookish young Black girl, because that character has a lot in common. That was Yalali Hicks, my current character, when she was a young girl going to Ilvermorny as well.
We've got to go back and something that you just said, because that's really important. And I want to make sure that everyone really caught that. The creators of this film saw you and loved the work that you did and created this character because they loved you. That is colossal. That is epic. How do you process that? Because effectively what's happened is that they got to see you in a way that practically no one else in this industry gets seen. You ended up in your first major studio feature film because of that. And that has to feel really good.
It does a lot of the time. I mean, you get a million no's, and that yes, when you get that yes, especially after getting a lot of no's, it is really groundbreaking. And personally, I felt like, holy shit, that's awesome. And there's certain things about Lally that are really specific. Like, for example, especially to me being Black and American, for example, Lally's wand, the handle is modeled after a West African mermaid, because Lally is a descendant from African mermaids, distant, which is why she has this long hair. And it's made of this sort of Nigerian wood that fell off of a tree. And the core is this long mermaid hair that's really coily, 4C, long strand. That is the mermaid core. And what's interesting about Lally, that's really specific to me as a person that has, 4C hair. I mean, obviously I have pink hair right now, but with 4C hair, having that custom made to me and my story, I mean, it's like the best feeling there is. And what's great about the wand is nobody else can hold Eulali's wand, actually. Eulali's magic with her wand is really strong because it's just for her. And if anybody else, funny fact, tries to grab the wand, it actually shocks them. They can't hold it. It burns their hands. That's not in this film, but it is something that, again, calls back to what you were saying, where that's like very specific. I am somebody that has attitude, and I don't want people to touch my shit. I don't want people to touch my hair. I don't want, that to me is really amazing. So once I got past that part, and a lot of days I'm still not over it, I realized that I have, a job and I got some work to do because they said yes, and that yes is strong. So I need to make sure that I come correct. I know my lines, I show up on time, I give it 100%, I make sure my accent is great, I do the work, and make sure that I work really hard. And so there wasn't a lot of room to sit in that for that long, because then I had a job, and then I'm a Black woman, I'm in a big studio movie, you better come bring it. And so hopefully I brought it in this movie, and I think it's just an amazing place to be in once I let that settle in. But it's just, it goes in and out. But thank you so much for saying that, because you blessed me saying that.
Of course. I mean, that's colossal. And without even knowing that that's how you got this role or that's how you landed here, what I was going to say is that in this film, and in this series in particular, unlike what we've seen in the fantasy space before, it's extremely diverse. There's you, there's Zoe Kravitz in the second movie. How important is it for you? Because you keep talking about being in third grade and this book being read to you and being introduced to this world. And I know at this point you've probably thought about the other third graders right now that have watched this movie, this content, and they're seeing themselves, and they're seeing that 4C curly hair and the wand because of your representation. What does that feel like for you, not only as an actor that's bringing this character to life, but also that Black people get invited to this party? Because often we don't get invited to this fantasy party.
You know what? I'm just trying to give Black people more stuff to cosplay to. Like when I was a kid, I just wanted to dress up and have a cool ass uniform. I remember a cool ass costume. I remember I dressed up as McGonagall when I was that age. I love McGonagall. She's one of my favorite characters in the whole franchise, and my mom helped me with that. And I want her to be able to dress up like as me if she wants. And I want, that's what's so great about sci-fi and fantasy is we want whimsy too. We want to just live in that escapism world, and actually a lot of times there isn't that much diversity. So I'm happy with this part to add another cosplay option so you can go to Comic-Con or be Eulalie for Halloween. That's like my dream. I think I'd get chills. One of the scenes that I shot in this film took place in the Great Hall at Hogwarts, which was amazing. And the thing that gave me chills, I mean, Hogwarts looked amazing, but the biggest thing that gave me chills were seeing all of these children in their wizarding robes. And it was really diverse. And that, just seeing the babies, it just gave me chills. It made me almost want to cry. That is what I do it for, so that kid feels a little less alone, and they want to dress up and just wear an awesome costume.
That's really special, and I know that it's early on because the film just came out not too long ago, but how does this experience change things for you moving forward? Because what you just described doesn't happen to anyone else. And I love that you've had this experience. So how does this change things for you as you navigate the rest of your Hollywood career?
Every set is a learning experience. Every job is a learning experience. And this job taught me so much. I got to see really talented English actors work up close. I got to see how they worked, and it really inspired my process and helped me kind of fine tune a little bit. I'm always kind of watching when I'm working. I think this movie helped with my confidence too, to see what I was capable of, because it was like a big elephant and I ate it a little bit at a time. But I think it just, I don't know, it just gave me more confidence. I think I left the film an even better actor than I was before. And I am really grateful and really thankful that I got to do it and that I'm alive to be able to do it. I don't know, I think I did Love Life season 2 after I shot this movie. And after I did that, I feel really good about my work and love life season 2 as well. And I was like, oh wow, I learned so much, but I didn't know I was learning at the time. And I hope to do more movies like this, and I hope to do movies that aren't like this. And I just know that it's just another reminder that I'm capable.
That I'm capable. Jessica Williams, giving us all of this motivation. Thank you so much for doing this today. Continued success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.